Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons. In this Licks to Impress, I'm looking at Paul Gilbert's intro to Green Tinted Sixties Mind. I'll play through it slowly, explain the lick bar by bar, give some pointers and things to watch out for, then break down the theory behind it for those of you interested in why it sounds the way it does, how to invoke that particular vibe, and how you can integrate this sort of sound into your own playing, writing and improvisation. You can use a pick or fingers. A live clip which I'll link to up there I found. Paul uses his fingers, so I'll do that for authenticity first off. In terms of the sound, fair bit of gain, not too much, some compression, stereo enhancer and some modulation mixed in, flanger or phaser should give the right kind of tone. The pick cradled in the second finger like that, not necessary for the lick in isolation, but a really good thing to try out if you want to do the full song or integrate the sort of tapping into your playing. I'm picking the E string with my first finger, and I'm kind of resting the rest of my palm across the strings here to stop them from bringing out. I'm more or less leaving my thumb on the B string for now, and we've got this little hammer on. And I pull off. Then what I'm doing is playing the B string with my thumb. For some reason when I was doing this, my left hand wanted to fret this finger. I want to go, which is not right. It must be some weird muscle memory I've got. So, open B. And then after the open B, what I'm doing is kind of using my palm or maybe the flesh of my thumb to mute the B string. So, instead of it ringing out, so I'm kind of moving my hand down as well to rest my thumb on it and make sure it doesn't ring out when I'm going back to that open E string. So we have this. Oh, legato. Then I'm using my thumb again on the G string to hammer on the 2nd to the 4th fret. First finger again on the E. Tapping on the 12. Fill off the 7 and the 5. So all that together. At this point, I'd take a breather and see if you can play that first bar together and try to get the sound of the melody in your head. When that's all good, to move on to the next bar. This might throw you a little bit, it certainly did with me. What you're doing is tapping on the 17th fret, pull off to the 10, hammer the 12, tap the 17 again, pull off to the 5, hammer to the 7. The trick is to slide the left hand down while the 17th fret is being tapped. So you don't want kind of thing. You want tap, and then I move my left hand. Move down. Just like that. And what's just a really cool way of doing an arpeggio all on the one string. 16th fret, go up to the 4th, open, 4, 7, and then tapping on the 12, slide all the way up to 16, back down to 12, and pull off, back to 7, back down to the 4. These slides are a bit easier to do faster because, you don't have to worry about the sustain as much. So if you're doing it slowly and this doesn't sound as good, the note kind of dies a little bit. As long as it sounds okay faster, I wouldn't worry about it too much at all. And then the lick repeats. The only difference is, rather than plucking this first note, you can pull off to it from here. So I'll play that second bar by itself, slowed down. I'd suggest getting those two bars together separately and slowly and then playing them back to back at a nice controlled speed. And at the end there, that's the only difference. So basically repeat those two bars 3 times, and then on the final bar you slide from the 12th fret off the fretboard or up to the 24th, whatever kind of sounds best to you. When tackling it with the plectrum, there's just a few things to watch out for. The open B, I found doing a little sweep was the best way to keep it clean because my palm would mute the string. You could still alternate pick, but I found that was a little bit muddier, not quite as clean. This might not be particularly useful to yourself, but I thought it was worth highlighting because I found it to be the most consistent approach. Also, hopping from the G to the E string is a wee bit tricky, so just take care not to hit that B string by mistake when crossing over. I watched an interview years ago where Paul was saying he had these chords for ages, and would usually play them at a sound check just to kind of warm up. And at some point he'd realised he's unconsciously lifted them from another song. He didn't say what one this was in the interview. It could maybe be Manic Monday, you know, the Bangles tune. But that's pure speculation on my part. I'm really not entirely sure. So if you do know what song it is, please do let me know down in the comments below. That'd be really interesting to find out. But yeah, once he realised it was from somewhere else, he was like, well, okay, I can't do that. I need to make it more interesting so it sounds less like this song. And he came up with the idea of arpeggiating the chords and then tapping those wide intervals for a less linear sound. It just goes to show you, if you're not too happy with a part, it can probably be tweaked into a totally awesome one. Right, as promised, time for some theory. In simple terms, it's very modal, floaty Mixolydian dominant 7th kind of sound. The best way to understand music is generally to look at the underlying chords, because it gives us a much better insight into the fundamental harmony. Here we've got E, E sus4, D, and E. So we're in the key of A major, but our tonal centre seems to be E. Hence E Mixolydian, E being the 5th chord of A major. If that went over your head, just listen to the sounds and try and get a feel for them. If this is making sense, strap in, we've got more to come. And if we take that sus4, put it into the Mixolydian and lean on it a little bit more, we get an even more floaty, hippie, flower power type vibe. Combine this with the arpeggios and tapped wide intervals and you got a really good basis for creating a part in this vein. The accents here are something interesting as well. They kind of go against the standard 4/4 groove. It's groups of 3 and then one of 4, so you get this like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. It's a very brief answer there, so if we delve a little bit deeper into the part's construction we can find out a bit more. First 6 notes are suggesting an E or an E sus2. Which ties in really nice to my bangle conspiracy. By playing the E, the B, and the F sharp. Now this 7th note here lands on an A, which doesn't make too much sense because it's not an E, is it? Until we realise that the chord underneath has changed on this very beat to the E sus4. Now what's that sus4? That 4th note of E is in fact an A. So this ties in really well to the underlying chords. The A is revisited on the G string down here, and then back up the oct, reinforcing this E sus4 chord idea. The next bar, the chord is changed to D major. The A we tap on the 17th fret could now be seen as the 5th of D, and then we're pulling off to the root of D. Hammering on an E, which kind of hints at a D add 9 or sus2. Again, just kind of getting a bit more of a floaty sound. We're back up to that A, then we're down an octave, hammering onto the B, which is a little bit more out there, this one here. We could see it as the 6th of D major, implying an add 6, but I'm thinking of it more as leading back into the next chord of E, because B, of course the 5th, and an E major triad. These final notes here are all from the E major. It's just an arpeggio, a really cool sounding one, but just an arpeggio nonetheless. Okay, so what use is all of that to you? Well, when you break stuff down like this, it makes it easier to see the parts and recreate a similar vibe. I'm going to use that rhythmic grouping I mentioned earlier, some tapping, legato, wide intervals, and outline a kind of E or E sus4 with it now. This won't be anything too special, and I might have to fish at it a bit here to get something sounding alright, but it's just to show how you can use this information and put it to use to create something a bit more practical. So let's go something like, I'll start with this hammer. That was a bit too major, I want more sus4. So different, but I'm taking the kind of ideas of the song, this kind of riff from it, and maybe more of a bargain basement version, a vaguely green 2018. Oh, sorry, that's a bad one. But hopefully you get the idea. What would be really cool is if you guys can take this information, run with it, and create your own kind of green tinted style licks. If you do any of those, do post them down below because it'd be awesome to check them out. But cool! So as always, I really hope this video has been useful for you guys, and that you've not only got a new flashy lick to show off, which is probably a bit easier than you might have thought it would been initially, but you picked up some new ideas, concepts, or techniques, and also have a good understanding of how to create something in a similar vein, and can call upon these ideas when you want to convey that same sort of vibe. If that has been the case and you've taken something away, found it informative, want to show support for the channel, give it a wee pop in that notorious algorithm. Please do consider to share, like, comment, enable notifications, and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Cheers guys.